Good morning, Saturday, April, 11th, 4/11/2020. Dear Robin J. I ran away with the circus, chapter 8. I know I got to go back and fix chapter 7 because I named names, but this is not that easy. I got notes all over the place. Stories. Um, I'll go back and do chapter 7 some other time. That takes a lot out of me, that story. I used to physically shake when I told that story about the how I ended up on the roof of Pistol's car. Because all this happened when I was 17. I think after I got back from Florida, I went to work with the petting zoo, and we were, I was still 17, but, we were going to bars, and um, hold on, looking at notes. When I got back from Florida, I was worried there was a warrant out, for my arrest from my shenanigans. And the first time I actually got pulled over after that was in the mall because I was working for the petting zoo and I was driving the company pickup truck, a 3-speed on the column. I'd mastered the clutch, how to drive a clutch on that thing, but somebody popped me in the we had a rear ending in the parking lot of the mall, and the cop came and he called. I had to give him my license, which I guess I'd replaced by then. Got a new one, and first time a cop called my name in, since a couple of months after the thing, and nothing came up. I didn't have a warrant, so I was like, yeah. So I'm working at the petting zoo with the 3-speed pickup, and Mark Ruggles, the manager, and Stevie Marshall was involved, bringing rides in, and we're driving giant trucks through the mall. The whole front of the mall used to open. You didn't know the windows were doors, and you could drive a giant truck in there. You'd have an inch on each side, driving, for hundreds of feet through the mall, turning sometimes. It was crazy, but I loved it. And I also worked at Pancake Cottage at the time, and Two Sisters, a restaurant. I used to work both of them, walk to work, and used to give my parents, when I first started at Pancake Cottage, half of my paycheck when I was a 16-year-old kid, because I thought it was the right thing to do. So half of my $20 a week went to them. And so how did I end up in the circus? So I'm with the petting zoo, and the goats always would have babies, and we'd have to name the babies. So everyone in my family had a goat named after it, Gerard being the most famous. Black goat named Gerard, and he sired many. And we actually brought the animal truck over to 35 one time and had the Gerard on the front lawn of the 35. And the day the circus, truck stopped at 35. And then, I was out of high school. I got my equivalency, and at some point, and Mark said, "You want to go? You want to go to Canada with the big horse show?" I'm like, "What's the big horse show?" Well, you're looking at it. It's the world's largest horse. They went over to England, and they looked on the record books of the Shire horses. Clydesdales have 4 white feet. Shires have 2 white feet in the back and 2 black feet in the front, and it's a taller breed. And Bob Jones went over to England, and that's the owner, Bob Jones, world's largest horse. Went over to England and picked out the tallest one and brought it back. That's the story anyway. Probably found it somewhere in Pennsylvania. And it was the world's largest horse. He was 9 feet tall. You see that that orange curtain behind me as I'm sitting in the ticket booth there? The top of that was like 8 feet or 9 feet or something. And to draw a crowd, I used to hold the carrot up, way up straight over my head on my tiptoes, and his nose would come over the top of that orange thing and take the carrot. And it was 50 cents to get in. And, we made hundreds a day, sometimes a lot of hundreds on a weekend. And we'd mail it back to the main office. And, but that didn't happen yet. I was still 17. Mark had asked me if I wanted to go do this. And I said, yeah, sure. So a few other stories about Selden before I left that need to be told.